Can you guess what's wrong with the pronunciation of the harakat in the following words? نعبد نعبد. What about كتب كتب? And what about بسم الله بسم الله? And those kasras. What's the mistake there? Why are these harakat not very clear? Well, that's our topic for today, and it's about completing harakat, إتمام الحركات. What do I mean by that, and how do I check if I'm doing it correctly? We'll talk about it in a second. In terms of learning outcomes and what you should be able to get out from this video, number one is you should be able to analyze the meaning of completing a harakah. Number two is you should be able to associate a harakah with the sound of a vowel. And number three, you should be able to examine and understand common mistakes when it comes to pronunciation of harakat. Bismillah, let's get into the details. Let's start with the dhamma. And let's see, that word we started off with, when we say na'budu, why is that wrong? What am I doing wrong? Na'budu. What's going on there is I am not rounding my lips with the dhamma. Just like I round my lips with the waw. When I say boo, boo, I'm rounding my lips. Boo. So the dhamma should be boo, boo. Dhamma is a short waw. So what I'm not doing correct is I'm not completing the harakah. I'm not rounding my lips. So incorrect, na'budu. Correct is na'budu, na'budu, by rounding the lips. And that's what it means to complete the dhamma, completing that harakah. Now let's move on to the fatha. So if I'm pronouncing the word incorrectly, I'd be saying katab, katab. What am I doing wrong there? Well, I'm not opening my mouth with the fatha, just like I do with the alif. So I should be saying katab, ka, katab, and not ka. So correct, ka, incorrect, ka. The mouth has to open. And I don't over exaggerate the opening of the mouth. I don't say katab, katab. So you don't want to do it too much or too little. Katab. It has to be open to a medium extent. Katab, katab. And you can accurately get it by reading it to a teacher or a sheikh or a sheikha. Now let's move on to the kasrah. So incorrectly pronounced, if I say Bismillah, Bismillah, what am I doing there? The wrong thing there is I'm not pronouncing the kasrah as it should be, and I'm not lowering the bottom jaw and elevating the middle of the tongue. So I'm saying B, B, B. It should be B, B. Lower jaw goes down. B, B, not B, B. B, B, Bismillah, B, Bismillah. So completing the kasrah means that you have to pronounce the kasrah just like you pronounce a ya. So I say B, B, and I don't say B, B, B. Kasrah is just like a ya, it's just shorter. B, B, lowering the jaw and elevating the middle of the tongue. And what about the sukoon? Well, the sukoon, to pronounce it correctly and to complete the sukoon, means just to pronounce the letter from its makhraj without associated movement towards a fatha or a kasra or a dhamma. That's quite easy. So if I'm reading the fa, I say F, F. I'm just going to the makhraj of the fa. I'm not moving my jaw towards a fatha or a dhamma or a kasra. So the key point here is, what is completing a harakah? It is pronouncing a harakah fully with the associated movement of the mouth or the lips, just like you would pronounce a vowel. With the dhamma, it would be with rounding the lips, bu. With the fatha, it would be by opening the mouth, ba. And kasrah is by lowering the bottom jaw, bi, and lifting the middle of the tongue. The second important point here is, how do I know I'm doing it correctly? And how do I gauge the right sound? Well, it should be similar to what a vowel should be, so what a mad should be. So if I say oo, boo, boo, the dhamma is just a short wow. bu, bu. If I'm saying bu, bu, that's not a wow. So the sound of a dhamma should be the same as a wow, just shorter. And the fatha, ba, ba, same as the alif. I'm not saying b, 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 that's not a alif. And the kasra, bi, 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 bi. I'm not saying b, b. So a dhamma is just like a wow, a fatha is just like an alif, a kasra is just like a ya. They should sound the same, just shorter. And that's the way I can check if I'm completing the harakah. Now, what are some common mistakes with the fatha, dhamma, and kasra? Let's start with the fatha and try to pick it. So the first example, pronounced incorrectly, wenema, wenema, wenema. What am I doing there? Wrong. What I'm doing is I'm pronouncing the fatha between a fatha and a kasra. So I'm kind of mixing a sound of a kasra with it. I should be saying wa, wanama, wanamariqu, not wanama, wanama. That is mixing a fatha with a kasra. And that's common when someone tries to make a letter muraqqaq or thin. Sometimes someone introduces a kasra to it. The next common mistake with a fatha is mixing it with a dhamma. So in the word, and I'll pronounce it incorrectly, khotam, 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 while it should be khatam, khatam. So we don't want to mix the fatha with a dhamma. So to complete that fatha, kha, I need to open the mouth, kha, and not kho, not round the lips. Now, why does that happen? That happens because sometimes trying to make a letter mufakham, someone uses the lips, and that's not quite correct. And the last mistake with the fatha is not opening the mouth enough, just like we said, or kind of pronouncing it like a sukun. So, a'udhu, a'udhu, a'udhu. You need to open the mouth, a'udhu, a'udhu. What about the dhamma? Some common mistakes there, mostly around rounding the lips or mixing it with another harakah. So the first mistake, innakum, innakum. What am I doing there? I'm not rounding my lips enough. I'm mixing the dhamma with a bit of a fatha. Ko, kum. I should be saying ku, kum, innakum. The next mistake is mixing the dhamma with a bit of a kasra, and that comes from some of our accents. So the mistake is to say innakum, kum, innakum. That's mixing the dhamma with a bit of a kasra. We need to round the lips, make sure that the tongue doesn't go towards a kasra. We say innakum, kum. And the third one is pronouncing the dhamma similar to a sukoon, and really it's just about not rounding the lips enough. So for example, na'budu, na'budu. And that's about rounding the lips, na'budu, as we mentioned before. Now, uncommon mistakes with the kasra is not lowering the bottom jaw enough. So if I'm saying bih, bih, or bismi, bismi, not completing it, bi, bismi, bih. That's not lowering the jaw enough. That's mixing the kasra with a bit of a fatha, you can say. In the end, completing the kasra means it has to be similar to a ya. Bi, bi. That's the easiest way to check. What about the sukoon? Can I do something wrong with the sukoon? Well, yes, because with the sukoon, we need to pronounce the letter from its makhraj and not have associated movements close to a dhamma or kasra or fatha. What do I mean? So let's take this one. Tushrikun, tushri, tushri. So with the sheen, tush, I should be saying tush, rounding the lips with the dhamma of the ta, tu, then going back to the makhraj of sheen and not rounding the lips, getting rid of that rounding of the lips. Tush, tush, tushrikun. Another example, incorrectly pronounced, tubutum, tubutum. What am I doing there? I'm rounding my lips throughout the whole word, but I should be doing rounding the lips on the dhamma, then going back to the harf sakin, tu, tubetum, and then going back for the meme as well, not tum, tubetum. So I should be saying tubetum, and not tubetum. Now let's go back to those learning objectives and make sure we tick them off. Number 1, we said we wanted to analyze what إتمام of harakat, or completing a haraka, means. And that is to pronounce the haraka with the correct movement of the mouth, the full movement of the mouth or jaw. With the dhamma, we need to round the lips. With the fatha, we need to open the mouth. With the kasra, we need to lower the bottom jaw. The second objective was to associate the haraka with the associated vowel in terms of sound. So the dhamma should sound just like the waw, just shorter. The fatha, just like the alif, but shorter. The kasra, just like the ya, but shorter. And the third one, we went through some of the most common mistakes, and now you can pick them and criticize them. If you wanted to check and test your understanding of what we spoke about in this video, you can go to the link below in the description. There's a link to an online quiz which you can do and check your understanding. And there's also a link to the material for the entire Tajweed course that we have here on YouTube. I hope you'll find it beneficial, and we'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.